The umbrella on your counter has been lost 19 times. Each time it has returned to this same Paris office on the 12th of August, carrying a new claim tag and no owner's name. Tonight, tucked beneath its worn red strap, you find a note. Please mend the handle before morning. Someone else will need it. Outside the tall windows, evening rain dims the city to pearl gray. It runs in narrow lines down the glass and gathers along the stone sill before dropping to the pavement below. Umbrellas pass beneath the window, black and brown and navy, opening and closing like slow flowers. The red one on your counter is brighter than all of them. This is your first night alone in the public room of the Lost Property Office. You have worked here for 11 days, long enough to learn which key opens the rear cabinet and how firmly the ink stamp must be pressed, but not long enough to feel that any part of the place belongs to you. By day, senior clerks occupy the desks beneath the brass lamps. They know the porters from every railway station, the conductors from every tram route, and the constables who arrive with parcels tucked beneath their capes. They know where every item goes before it has quite reached the counter. At night, the order of the office becomes yours to maintain. You lay the note beside the umbrella and look toward the small glass partition at the end of the room. Beyond it, Monsieur Varenne is closing the day ledger. His silver spectacles rest low on his nose. He makes one last line beneath the 12th of August, blots the ink, and closes the book with both hands. When you ask him about the umbrella, he does not appear surprised. He comes through the partition and studies the worn red canopy. Rainwater shines upon it in small beads. From its strap hang a cluster of cream cards, each softened at the corners. Some are printed in neat black type. Others are no more than luggage labels, cloakroom tickets, or squares cut from old stationery. A pale wooden handle curves beneath them, smooth from years of hands. Monsieur Varenne lifts the newest note and reads it once. Then it has returned on time, he says. You wait for more, but he takes his coat from the peg by the door. There is a file in the third drawer of desk 4. The red ribbon, not the blue. Read from the beginning. You will understand what repairs are needed. He places the office key beside your blotter. It is heavier than an ordinary key, with a round brass bow polished brightly at one edge. And when you understand, he adds, leave the owner's line empty. The outer door closes quietly behind him. His footsteps pass beneath the window and fade into the rain. For a moment you stand in the center of the public room, surrounded by everything Paris has misplaced. Shelves rise from floor to ceiling along the back wall. 100 umbrellas lean in numbered racks. Hat boxes occupy the upper ledges. Walking sticks hang from brass hooks. There are parcels tied in twine, violin cases, market baskets, a folded deck chair, 2 painted signs, and 1 wooden bird cage without a bird. Smaller things wait in shallow drawers. Keys, spectacles, purses, watches, buttons, gloves, fountain pens, brooches, notebooks, and letters whose addresses have washed away. The office does not feel lonely. Every object carries the faint warmth of having been expected somewhere else. You begin with the evening deliveries. This is the task you know. A canvas sack from the northern tram depot contains a gentleman's grey glove, a paper parcel of knitting wool, a green purse holding 3 coins, and a child's tin boat with 1 red funnel. You arrange them on the sorting cloth. Each receives a number, a brief description, a place found, and the hour it entered your care. The rubber date stamp rocks beneath your palm. 12th of August, 1927. The mark appears again and again in violet ink. Rain whispers at the windows. Somewhere deeper in the building, a water pipe clicks and settles. The clock above the public counter moves with a soft, patient tick that disappears whenever you stop listening for it. You place the grey glove in drawer 21, the purse in the locked cabinet, and the knitting wool upon shelf F. The little boat takes longer. Its blue paint has been rubbed from the bow, and two initials have been scratched beneath the hull. You copy them carefully, wondering whether a child is still awake somewhere in the city, checking a coat pocket that cannot possibly hold a boat. The thought makes you inspect the depot sack once more. Nothing remains inside. You set the boat where it will be easy to see from the counter tomorrow. Only then do you approach desk 4. The third drawer sticks halfway. You draw it out with both hands and find several narrow files tied with ribbon. Blue records belong to disputed claims. Green records concern items sent to other cities. The red ribbon is faded almost to rust. Inside are 19 cards. The first is dated August 12, 1908. It records one umbrella, women's size, red silk canopy, 8 black ribs, ash handle, found on an eastbound tram after the final stop. There was no label sewn inside and nothing hidden in the folds. The item was entered by an assistant clerk whose writing leans forward as though hurrying toward the next line. Owner unknown. The following card should record an auction or a disposal. Instead, the second card is dated exactly 1 year later. Red umbrella returned at the western entrance, handle newly polished, one panel replaced. Owner unknown. The third card carries another August date and a different hand. Returned by a flower seller from the market, 2 small tiers repaired, wooden tip replaced. The fourth says that the umbrella arrived with a tram conductor before sunrise. The fifth mentions a music teacher. The sixth records only that it was left beneath the stone arch with a note asking that it be dried before storage. Year after year, the umbrella travels out into Paris and finds its way back. You compare the old descriptions with the object on the counter. The silk has gradually become cotton. 3 black ribs have been replaced with brass. The pale ash handle bears a dark band where someone once repaired a crack. One panel is a slightly deeper red than the others. Another carries a patch shaped like a leaf, stitched so carefully that it seems decorative. The umbrella is no longer one object. It is every repair that has allowed it to continue. The file does not explain who sends it away. You untie the cluster of tags from the handle and spread them across the green blotting cloth in chronological order. They map no sensible route. One came from a theater cloakroom beside the river. Another bears the mark of a hotel near the gardens. There is a ferry ticket, a bakery receipt, a square of blue card from a hospital laundry, and a luggage label printed for a station far across the city. The umbrella has crossed bridges and markets. It has waited in vestibules, under cafe tables, behind shop counters, and beside doors where raincoats dripped onto tile. The newest tag is plain. On one side is tonight's note. On the other is the address of a small boarding house on Rue des Trois Frères. The frayed strap has been wrapped twice around the canopy because its button is missing. The curved handle shifts slightly when you test it. That must be the repair the note requests. In the bottom drawer of the work table, the office keeps a modest collection of useful materials: brown paper, cotton cord, sealing wax, a stub of white tailor's chalk, needles in a round tin, 2 spools of thread, a small bottle of wood glue. Lost things often arrive in pieces, and even when they cannot be made perfect, they can be made safe. You carry the umbrella to the long table beneath the central lamp. First you open it. The ribs rise with a sequence of gentle clicks. The red canopy spreads above the table, casting a warm, softened color over your hands. It smells faintly of rain, dust, and the mineral scent of wet pavement. Along one seam, 4 tiny droplets gather, tremble, and fall onto the sorting cloth. You turn the umbrella slowly, checking each panel against the descriptions in the file. The leaf-shaped patch dates from 1916. A new runner was fitted in 1920. The brass rib nearest the strap was added 3 summers ago by someone who wrote, in unusually careful letters, better than it was, though not as good as it deserves. Near the wooden handle, a narrow metal collar has loosened. You unscrew it with your fingers and discover that the old glue beneath has dried to amber flakes. The work is simple. Clean the joint, add fresh glue, fit the handle firmly, let it rest. You place a square of paper beneath the wood and begin. There is comfort in a repair that asks only patience. The city beyond the windows may be full of crossings, departures, addresses, and hurried appointments, but here the task narrows to a ring of wood no wider than your thumb. You scrape away the old glue with the blunt edge of a letter knife. You polish the joint with cloth. You test how the grain fits beneath the collar and make a small pencil mark so you can return it to the same position. The rain grows steadier. Its sound on the glass blends with the soft drag of cloth over wood. While the cleaned joint dries, you return to the file. Several cards include slips of paper folded behind them. They are not official records. One is the back of a cafe bill, one has been torn from a school exercise book, one is written upon the margin of a theater program. The oldest message is brief. It kept my daughter dry from the tram to the doctor's door. I am returning it because the sky is clear today. The next writer says the umbrella sheltered 3 flower baskets through a sudden shower. Another explains that it was lent to a violinist whose case could not be allowed to get wet. A hotel porter used it to escort an elderly guest to a waiting cab. A baker carried warm loaves beneath it when the awning tore in a storm. Each person seems to have received the umbrella without being told who owned it. Each understood that it was borrowed rather than given. Someone, somewhere, had said the same simple thing. Return it when the rain has passed. You read the cards twice, the open file, the patient office, and the red light from the canopy make the messages feel less like history than a conversation that has paused until you are ready to join it. At 10:30, the service bell rings at the rear door. You close the umbrella file and cross the corridor. A tram depot porter waits beneath the stone arch, with rain shining on the shoulders of his coat. At his feet are 2 wicker hampers covered with canvas. The late collection, he says, passing you a damp manifest. Together you carry the hampers inside. They are not heavy, though one rattles mysteriously when set down. The porter wipes his shoes upon the mat and glances through the open doorway toward the red umbrella resting beneath the lamp. Back again, is it? You ask whether he recognizes it. Everyone recognizes that one. He smiles as though you have asked whether he recognizes the river. No one knows who owns it. Before you can ask more, the clock in the depot yard rings the quarter hour. He pulls up his collar, wishes you a quiet night, and hurries back beneath the arch. The answer is not enough. but it changes something. The umbrella is not a private secret hidden in a drawer. It belongs to the kind of knowledge passed between people who work while the rest of the city is on its way somewhere else. You open the first hamper, a folding fan, a carpenter's square, a single dancing shoe wrapped in newspaper, a book of pressed ferns, a small copper saucepan, 3 scarves, a parcel of sugared almonds that must be entered but will not be kept for long. The second hamper contains the source of the rattle, 7 door keys tied together with green string. There is also a cream-colored hat, a fountain pen, a wooden ruler, and a leather document case with a card in its outer pocket. You work through the collection slowly. The fan opens to reveal painted swallows. The carpenter's square bears a stamped maker's mark. The dancing shoe has a satin ribbon darkened by rain, so you loosen the paper and set it near the radiator. Between the pages of the fern book, each plant is labeled in a compact hand. You do not read the names aloud. It seems enough that someone took such care to preserve them. Objects become easier to understand when you give them your full attention. A key is not simply brass. It is long or short, hollow or solid, newly cut or worn smooth. A scarf carries the trace of a perfume, chimney smoke, or sea salt. A pen may be cheap and carefully maintained or expensive and treated carelessly. Even the scratches upon the copper saucepan describe the circular motion of someone stirring the same recipe many times. You enter each detail without guessing beyond what the object can honestly tell you. Near midnight, the deliveries are finished. The shelves hold their new arrivals. The ledger contains a neat block of your writing, straighter at the bottom of the page than at the top. You make tea on the small spirit stove in the staff room. The kettle is dented on one side and sings before it boils. You pour the water over dark leaves, wait until the color deepens, and carry the cup back to the work table. The umbrella waits beneath its halo of red. You brush fresh glue around the wooden joint, align your pencil marks, and press the handle into place. The metal collar turns until it sits flush. You wipe away the thin bead of glue and bind the joint with a strip of cotton cloth. The handle must now remain still. The missing button requires another solution. In the drawer of unclaimed odds and ends, you find a shallow wooden button, almost the same color as the ash handle. Its 4 holes are worn at the edges, evidence that it once served some other coat, bag, or umbrella. You choose red thread and sew it firmly to the strap. When you finish, the repair is visible only to someone looking closely. This pleases you. It does not pretend the umbrella has never been damaged. It simply allows the object to perform its small duty again. You remove the cotton binding from the handle and test the joint. It holds. Beneath the stack of record cards, one final paper remains. It is folded into quarters and bears no date. The writing belongs to Monsieur Varenne. The first assistant who entered the umbrella in 1908 was named Lucien Morel. On the morning it was due to be sold with the other unclaimed objects, he found a woman waiting beneath the office awning. She had walked across half the city to recover a parcel of dress patterns, and had arrived just as a summer downpour began. Lucien gave her the red umbrella and asked her to return it whenever she no longer needed it. She brought it back the following August. By then, Lucien had lent it to someone else. The office never adopted a rule for the umbrella. There was no signature, committee, or official decision. One clerk simply told the next. Porters and conductors learned to recognize it. Whenever it returned, the person working the 12th of August repaired what was worn, attached the newest story to the file, and chose someone who needed shelter. The owner line remained empty because the umbrella did not belong to the office, or to Lucian, or to the first woman who carried it into the rain. It belonged to the interval between one person's need and another person's kindness. You sit quietly with the paper in your hands. For 11 days, you have believed the office's purpose is to reverse mistakes. A glove is separated from its pair, and you place it where its owner can recover it. A violin is left in a cab, and your records help it return to the musician. Every shelf holds something waiting to go backward toward the person and place from which it came. The red umbrella moves forward. Its value lies not in finding its first owner, but in never becoming too settled with the last. At the bottom of Monsieur Varennes' note is one final sentence. Tonight, the choice is yours. The responsibility does not feel large, yet you read the sentence several times. Paris contains more people than you could count, and rain is falling upon all of them. From the tall window you can see hats, newspapers, parcels held above heads, and shoulders pressed beneath narrow awnings. Any one of those people could use an umbrella. You cannot choose the person who needs it most. You can only notice the person placed before you. This thought settles the question for now. You close the file but leave it on the desk. Then you lower the umbrella and fasten its new wooden button. The canopy folds unevenly because of the replaced panels. You smooth each section with your palm until the red cloth lies in quiet pleats around the shaft. The old tags go back onto the handle. For tonight's tag, you choose a fresh cream card. On one side you stamp the date, on the other you write, "Handle secured, strap repaired, ready for rain." You leave the owner line empty. The next hours pass without urgency. At 1 o'clock, you inspect the windows and place a shallow bowl beneath a drip near the eastern sill. At 1:15, you straighten the walking sticks in their rack, ordering them by the numbers on their tags rather than by height. At 2, you carry the dried dancing shoe to shelf C and tuck its newspaper beneath it. At 2:30, you answer the night telephone for a hotel porter searching for a black leather case. 3 such cases arrived during the week. You compare dimensions, initials, and clasps, then leave a clear note for the morning clerk. The telephone returns to silence. You walk through the storage aisles with a lamp. The beam passes over rows of patient shapes, suitcases with rounded corners, hats resting in tissue paper, an accordion with one pale key, a rolled carpet tied in 3 places, a painted rocking horse whose wheels are wrapped in cloth so they will not mark the floor. The city has entrusted the office with a strange, accidental portrait of itself. You used to think belonging in Paris would mean learning every street and knowing exactly where to go. Now the office suggests another possibility. Perhaps belonging is knowing how to care for what reaches you, even when it arrives by mistake. At 3, the rain softens. Individual drops become audible again instead of one continuous rush. Water moves through the gutter outside with the low sound of a stream. The pavements reflect the street lamps in long, trembling lines. You return to the public room and place the red umbrella in the stand nearest the door. It looks ready to leave. No one comes. You do not worry. Morning workers will begin crossing the city before dawn. Bakers, market porters, cleaners, drivers, newspaper sellers, hospital attendants, and kitchen hands all move through streets most people know only in daylight. Someone will arrive wet and empty-handed. Your part is to notice. You prepare the office for morning. The ledgers are stacked by date. Claim forms are placed in the wooden tray. Ink bottles are filled to the narrow line marked inside their necks. You sweep thread ends and dried flakes of glue from the work table. The spirit stove cools in the staff room. Your teacup rests upside down upon a folded towel. At 4:15, wheels sound beneath the arch. A small delivery cart stops outside. The horse stamps once upon the wet stones and grows still. A young woman in a bakery apron climbs down with a covered basket on her arm. Her dark coat is buttoned to the throat, but it has soaked nearly black across the shoulders. She runs from the cart to the office awning, holding the basket beneath her coat. She has brought the bread ordered for the morning staff. Inside the basket, round rolls rest beneath a cloth, still warm enough to fill the public room with the smell of flour and toasted crust. She sets the delivery slip on the counter and apologizes for the wet corner. You stamp it received. When she turns toward the door, the rain begins again. It is not a storm, only a patient August rain, but the cart offers no roof, and the bakery lies several streets away. She looks at the sky, then at the basket she must return, calculating whether the cloth will keep it dry. You lift the red umbrella from the stand. She shakes her head at first. "It looks too fine," she says, "and she can manage without it." You tell her that it has been managing without an owner for 19 years. The answer makes her smile. She takes the umbrella and turns the handle in her hand, noticing the old tags. You explain only what she needs to know. Return it when the rain has passed. She opens it beneath the awning. The red canopy rises smoothly, the repaired handle firm beneath her palm. Warm light from the office shines through the mismatched panels. For one moment she stands inside a small red room at the edge of the gray morning. Then she crosses to the cart. The umbrella moves above her through the rain. It passes beneath the arch, turns at the end of the street, and becomes a bright diminishing circle among the lamps. Soon it is gone. You do not know where it will travel before it returns. Perhaps it will remain at the bakery for a week. Perhaps the young woman will lend it to a customer before noon. It may shelter a parcel, a basket of flowers, a set of clean linens, or two people walking close together. Its next tag may be written tomorrow or months from now. You know only that the umbrella has left in working order. Back at the desk, you open the file one last time. On the 20th card, you record the repair, the hour, and the covered basket from the bakery. Where the form asks for the claimant's name, you draw no line. Blank space can be deliberate. It can mean that a story is not missing its answer, only making room for the next person. You retie the file with its faded red ribbon and return it to the third drawer of desk 4. The drawer closes easily this time. After the young woman has gone, the office feels larger, but it does not feel empty. The umbrella stand by the door holds a clean crescent of water where the red canopy rested. Beyond the glass, dawn remains hidden behind low clouds. The city is not yet bright, though its earliest sounds have begun. A broom moves over pavement in the next street. A cart rolls slowly across wet stones. Somewhere beyond the roofs, a bakery shutter is lifted and secured. These sounds arrive softened by the rain and the thick office walls. They ask nothing of you. You sit at the long table beneath the central lamp. The green cloth is clear now. The needle has been returned to its tin. The red thread rests upon its spool, one short end tucked beneath the others. The bottle of wood glue is closed. The small wooden button's empty place in the drawer is barely noticeable. Your hands rest upon the table where the umbrella lay open. The work is finished. Rain continues to touch the tall windows, drop after drop. each one finding the path made by the water before it. Some gather at the edge of the class, some travel in thin streams, some remain as bright beads, holding the reflection of the brass lamp until they grow heavy enough to move. The office clock ticks above the counter. Between one tick and the next there is room for the settling of shelves, the whisper of water in the gutter, and the soft shift of paper as the building breathes around you. The sounds repeat without becoming exactly the same. Rain, clock, gutter, paper. Rain, clock, gutter, paper. You look along the numbered racks. The remaining umbrellas are dark and still, their curved handles overlap, drops have dried upon some canopies and left faint marks like small moons. Each waits for a name, a description, a hand reaching across the counter. There is no need to imagine all their journeys tonight. They are sheltered here. That is enough. The little tin boat is visible from your chair. Its red funnel points toward the ceiling. Its painted hull catches a narrow band of lamplight. In a few hours, someone may come searching for it. Until then, it rests on the shelf above the counter, balanced evenly upon its shallow keel. The gray glove lies flat in its drawer. The dancing shoe waits in clean paper. The 7 keys remain joined by green string. The painted fan is folded, its swallows hidden between wooden guards. Everything has been given a place for the night. You lower the lamp wick slightly. The edges of the room soften, brass loses its sharp shine, the shelves recede into brown shadow. The public counter becomes a quiet line between the office and the sleeping street. The empty umbrella stand remains nearest the door. You can picture the red canopy moving through the pale morning, but you do not need to follow it. Its handle is secure, its strap is fastened. It is doing the work for which many hands have kept it whole. Your part has joined theirs. The thought settles gently without requiring anything more. You are no longer waiting to feel that the office belongs to you. Belonging has become simpler than that. It is the date stamped evenly on a card. It is a damp parcel placed where it can dry. It is a button chosen from a drawer and sewn with careful thread. It is leaving a line empty because not every useful thing must be possessed. Outside, the broom passes once more over the pavement. The bristles make a soft rushing sound, then pause, then return. Water is guided from the stones toward the gutter. The street is being prepared for footsteps that have not yet arrived. Inside, you straighten one sheet of blotting paper. Though it is already nearly straight, your fingertips follow its clean edge. The paper smells faintly of ink and cotton. Beneath it, the wood of the desk is smooth where generations of sleeves have passed over the same place. The rain becomes finer. It no longer runs in broad lines. It rests upon the windows as a silver grain, softening the opposite buildings until their windows are only squares of muted gold and gray. Roofs blend into clouds. Chimneys stand quietly in the growing light. Your breathing finds the easy rhythm of the room. The clock marks it without hurrying. The gutter answers with a low, continuous murmur. The shelves remain steady. The floorboards hold the warmth gathered through the night. There is nothing left to repair. There is nothing you must decide. The next ledger waits closed upon the morning desk. The next delivery sack is still at the depot. The next person searching for a lost thing has not yet reached the door. For now, the office keeps everything it has been given. It keeps the scent of warm bread beneath the public lamps. It keeps the delicate ring left by your teacup in the staff room. It keeps a single strand of red thread too small to gather from the green cloth. It keeps the fading echo of wheels beneath the arch. It keeps the quiet space where the umbrella waited. The room is good at keeping such things. Not forever, only until they are ready to move on. You remain at the table while the lamp burns lower. Rain, clock, gutter, paper. There is no need to know which bridge the umbrella crosses, or beneath which awning it will next be folded. The old cards have already taught you the shape of its journey. Shelter is offered, rain passes, shelter is returned. Along the shelves, labels rest beneath their strings. Numbers fade into shadow. The difference between hats, parcels, cases, and books becomes less important from your chair. They are quiet forms held safely in a quiet room. You lower the wick once more. The flame becomes a small amber leaf inside the lamp chimney. It does not flicker. The glass protects it from every draught that moves beneath the doors and along the corridor. Its light reaches the tabletop, the closed ledger, your resting hands, and no farther than it needs to. The office clock continues above the counter. Its hands move too slowly to see, yet the room changes around them. Gray light gathers at the windows. The brass key beside the blotter loses its reflection from the lamp and takes a pale reflection from the sky. The violet date stamp dries upon the 20th card inside the drawer. 12th of August, 1927. The date can rest now among the others. You listen to the fine rain touching the stone sill. Each drop is very small. Together they cover the roofs, the arch, the waiting carts, the streets leading outward in every direction. Somewhere within that wide grey morning, a red umbrella moves beneath them. Here the stand by the door is empty and ready. The drawer is closed, the shelves are still, the lamp is warm, and the office keeps the remaining hours softly, one quiet sound after another, until rain and clock and distant wheels are all part of the same slow morning.